you trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is nodemarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots, ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. Nodemarket.io.
That's some dumbass Christmas cheer. You guys don't even get the best part of it. He spelled Christmas wrong. He didn't just spell it wrong by one letter. Brandon screwed it up. CHRISMAS. And it says 3 on it, which means there were 2 other attempts. Oh, whoa, man. Okay, we'll do some Q&As. I'm gonna say hello to everybody first. Hello. Probably gonna have a talk about adulting today. God, you spend about 13 fucking milliseconds in one of these Telegram chats and you just realize people are led by nonsense. People you guys know that we're almost all adults here, right? And investing, we're punting our money into digital assets. There is no space for people to act like whiny little bitches. Those people are going to lose money. God, you know how to predict. Do you ever see, well, it's other than Elon Musk, do you ever see like billionaires whine and cry like little bitches? You don't see that. There's a reason you don't see that. I had a buddy who he was all about studying billionaires. He's like, you want to be a billionaire? Just study billionaires. I'm like, that's so probably accurate. So I used to just read about billionaires. What's up, Rudy? I used to just read about billionaires, and like, there's a great book about the guys from Dell and like the main guy from Dell. So I think, you can learn. It's called like once lucky, twice you're good, or something to that effect. Anyway, the idea is like there are repeatable characteristics about successful people. Some people fall into money one time, they do one big thing, and boom. Like a lot of people have argued, like Mark Zuckerberg did a big thing and that's it. I don't so much agree. I think he's actually quite intelligent. But you could make that argument. But most of the billionaires that I've read about, and I just use billionaire because it's a big number, and you have to do more than create a widget to become a billionaire. It takes a lot of things have to fall into place, and you might have to be really good and to an extent lucky. But there are people that have repeated their kind of like billionaire success multiple times. What up, Conan? So it's worth, it's worth looking at. It's worth looking at. So when there's a few people I study. Now I urge everybody, what up? I urge everybody to find two or three individuals. You can't really do much more than that, but find 2 or 3 individuals that have exceeded what you think is really just normally possible. Like in the hedge fund space, I like Jeffrey Gundlach. He's probably, I don't know, he's like as dry as like dry ice, right? But there is zero emotion, man. The guy is a cold, calculated financial like assassin. And you can learn a lot from individuals like that. There's a few others out there. I like Mike Green. I like all of his stuff about passive indexation. I think he's really smart. I think he's probably the reason he doesn't have more interest is because sometimes people can't kind of keep up with what he's saying, but he's really good. I like Jeff Snyder, his analysis of like Mark, but Jeff Snyder's not a billionaire. Green's not a billionaire, but find a couple people that have like exceptionally moved past where normal rational people think. Like a normal does anybody in here, let's do a little test. Is anybody in the chat right now? Good morning. Think that you are realistically going to become a billionaire? I'm not counting about Venezuelan hyperinflation and shit like that. I'm saying, does anybody in here really, A, do you think you're going to be a billionaire? 2, do you want to be a billionaire? So now let's go the other way. However, does anybody in here maybe want to absorb some of the tools that those billionaires have used to break out of what most people would just say is not even rationally possible? Like most of us just don't think that way. And I didn't think that way. I was like, $1 billion, that's like, I don't know what it would take. It would just be, it's just mind-bogglingly impossible. You can't really fathom that until you can. So many of you, okay, so let's go this. Are there people here who endeavor, pre-inflation, right now money, not debased money, but right now money, to be a multimillionaire? And if the answer is yes, multimillionaire, because of the life that it would give you, because of the time that you could buy back, because of the freedom that you could kind of enjoy, like give me some reasoning behind that. So say yes, millionaire, because it would allow me. So then what you do is and I think most people are probably in that camp. That was my original camp. It's like, dude, just get to $1 million, man. Get to a damn $1 million. And of course, like I'm chasing like government effects and debasement and bullshit monetary policy. So like you get to $1 million and $1 million's not really $1 million. And then you're like, crap, what do I got to do? But what you can do is, and we've done this before, you reduce things to small obtainable goals. And the first goal is, what would buy yourself some happiness and some freedom? And that number, if you do the math, is right around, in most markets, not Los Angeles, probably not New York, but in most markets, it's about $10,000 extra per month per family member, right? Per family member. So that's pretty important, because you need to think, well, if a wife or husband and 2 kids, that means $40K. Now, it doesn't mean you won't be happy. It means that that's where, on the aggregate, most people are happy. Yes, $10K. And in a lot of places, yeah, like Ryan's saying, like $5K a month would just make life easy, right? It would just make life easier. And then, so that's the first goal. So everybody's first goal, I think, you can do whatever you want, but everybody's first goal should be get to the extra $10K a month. Now listen, this is all debts paid. If you owe anything, any credit card debt, anything, you got to get that knocked out. School, anything. Guess what? Guess what also counts? If you have a mortgage, you're in debt. I know people like, a house doesn't count. It absolutely does count. You subtract out what you would have been paying in rent, right? That comes out. So it's income, expenses, assets, liabilities. What's left? Cash flow. You guys know this. This is like common sense 101, or needs to be. It probably isn't, but needs to be. So it must include nitro. Okay, so think, if you put that math in place, say, okay, I'm paying for a house, I'm paying for a car. You need $10K a month extra after all that stuff. You wipe out all your debt, exhaust your debt. I know that some people in here have knocked out all their debt. That's like the best thing. That's like absolutely the best thing. Like when you've whacked all your debt, that night, that day, you will never experience greater euphoria. Like, period. There is no greater feeling than all debt gone, like gone. And I've hit some other moments where I thought these were big deals, but nothing like the debt. When I hit $1 million, it wasn't the same as when I wiped out my debt. When I hit 10 million, wasn't the same, wiped out debt. 50 million, wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. I know you'd think, holy crap, like, no, dude, it wasn't the same. Getting debt free is the very best thing you can do ever, because you can just for a second, you can breathe. Like you can sit back and go, ooh, right. Now, those of you that don't have debt because you just lived a life of no debt, good for you. Good for you. Good for you. That's great. That's awesome. And if you don't owe any debt and you manage yourself accordingly, that's amazing. That's what you want to do. That's what you should endeavor to do. But a lot of people don't have that. So everybody who's in here, your first step right now, your first step right now is to get out of debt. Once you get out of debt, your next step is 10,000 extra a month. 10,000 extra a month. You imagine yourself, you're a little planet. Your financial power is a planet, and you're a black hole, a green hole. Everybody here's a green hole, and you have an event horizon. That's your means. Outside the event horizon, you can't get that stuff. You can't afford that stuff. At the edge of the event horizon, you can, but you don't want to live at the edge of your means. You don't want to live at the edge of your event horizon of financial capacity, because the minute things change, you're fucked. You understand that? And I see it all the time in Los Angeles. Like it's so apparent. People, they get more money, they get a bigger house. They get more this, they get more stuff, they get more stuff, they get more stuff. They always live on the edge. They got to show everyone how good they're doing. They got to success signaling. I'm successful. Yeah, okay. Good for you. Let's be successful. You like, they live on the edge of their means. And then the minute something happens, like the strikes that we just saw that went on for 9 months, they're busted. And I've quoted this before, and this is, you can go look it up. 1 in 3 people in America that make $250,000 a year or more are 1 month away from bankruptcy. Think about that for a second. See, you probably know someone who's living the life of Riley. Oh, they're crushing it. Oh man, they're making so much money. They're doing so good. $250K a year, $300K, $350K a year until something happens. And 1 month later, they are dusted. They are bankrupt. Second mortgages and all this kind of stuff. So that stuff resonates with me. I grew up where I wasn't sure where we were. We were kind of middle class, I guess. And we certainly weren't upper class. And both of my parents had their own businesses, but they were never doing good at the same time. And I felt like we were faking it all the time. They would go to these dinner parties and also stupid, signally, socially bullshit. And I would just be in these giant houses, like giant. And I was like, what are we doing here? This is not us. We are not this. And matter of fact, what are these people doing here? They are not this. A lot of those people, I watched them get destroyed financially, but I didn't understand it. I was a kid. Like, I was like, I don't understand why this guy's no longer like rich. Like, what happened? Like, how do you not be rich? In my mind, it didn't make sense that you could be rich and then all of a sudden not be rich. And it's because people live in leverage. People live on plastic. People live at the edge of their event horizon of financial capacity. And then something happens, a divorce, whatever. That was a lot of it, but whatever. And gone. So there's no, Scott. So to reduce this to, how do you get to 10K a month? Well, you reduce that. How do I have my investment portfolio spit off, or my other, it doesn't have to be your investment portfolio. It can be your income from work that you do. But the problem is work that you do, if the boss comes in one day and says you're fired, that's gone. If the work changes or robots come and take that job, you're done. Like, ideally, you want to build a financial cushion where your investments through compounding interest and other effects spit off 10K a month, $2,500 a week, right? So like, $570 a day ish, 550, shoot for 600. you know, and then tax adjusted, whatever. So like, you have to think, let me get there. Let me get to when I was doing like I had done a Amazon books for a while. I was like, okay, this is cool. Maybe I can figure this out. And my buddy and I had noticed like coloring books, adult coloring books. That's like a thing. We're like, come on, let's make an adult coloring book. So we went out, we went to Shutterstock. We bought the rights to like 700 black and white drawings. Like we made adult coloring books. We just called it, and then we put like curse words on every page because that's all that apparently it takes for an adult coloring book is you just have like a big black and white picture of like scribbly lines and the word fuck on it. And that's an adult coloring book. And then like lots of like unhappy, like single females seem to buy them. And that's not even, that's like what's happening. It was so crazy. Anyway, we sold so many of these stupid books and we just did them on Amazon. I'll tell you how stupid people are. I mean, I eventually got kicked off of Amazon for doing crap like this, but I'll tell you how stupid people are. People were buying our ebook, adult coloring book. Think about that for a second. Well, you can grab your crayons and use your Kindle. Come on, man. We sold a shit ton of them. Anyway, after about 6 months, I got booted for like gaming the metadata thing, but I took that money. Some of that money I used, and this was, when would this be? 2014. I wasn't really full crypto at that time. I wasn't there, but the point is I was just looking. I was always looking. I still kind of put my finger in things all the time. Like, oh, maybe there's an opportunity here. Maybe there's something. And so you need to be doing that. Every one of you individually need to be doing that. Whatever way, whatever works for you, whatever you're interested in, I would urge all of you to look and see what you're good at personally, because somebody somewhere in the world or many somebodies want what you're good at. They want what you're good at. And so if you can find a way to deliver it to them, there you go. Yeah, I mean, hypercycle franchises may be it for a lot of people, but don't count on anything. Count on nothing. I know it was so stupid. Dude, let me tell you, me and my buddy, and I'm not going to tell you who he is because he's an actor and he's like well known and he'd probably be embarrassed. We also did a book. We did a book on our iPhone. We took pictures. I ordered this creepy clown from eBay. I mean, creepy. It had like been involved in a fire and it was like left. And anyway, I bought it for like, I don't know. It's like Annabelle, but like a clown. It's the scariest shit you've ever seen. Anyway, I still have it. It's in my closet. I leave it up in my closet staring. So if someone goes in my closet, they're just looking at it. It's like right by a Louis Vuitton box. That's empty, by the way, because I'm not like that. But anyway, it's just anyway, I bought this clown. We took pictures of it. In one day, we made a book called Creepy the Clown. I don't think you can still get it because, again, I got kicked off of Amazon. But the book is awesome. It's a full color story of a creepy clown. And I thought, people are so scared of clowns, but what if a clown was just a pervert instead of a clown? So we just made a book about a clown who's a pervert, likes to hook up with stuffed dolls. And so we sold it as like, if you're afraid of clowns, this is the book for you. We sold the shit out of it. Anyway, stuff like that, like just random stuff we would try. Of course, there's a lot of stuff we tried that went nowhere. Like we thought it would be funny to do a book about like, it was called All of the Greatest Contributions to Science That Were Made by Ex-Wives. And I know this sounds silly, but like on the cover, we put this like really cool, like it looked like something that came out of academia, like a bunch of people in like a French court arguing something and all. Anyway, the book is empty. It's all just empty pages. 400 pages of empty book. The idea is like a funny notebook. Like, here's all the contributions that ex-wives have ever made to science. And it's like nothing. Anyway, that book did not do so well, but it got good reviews because people thought it was really funny and some hate mail. But anyway, like we tried all sorts of stupid stuff. And you should be comfortable trying stupid stuff. Just don't pile a bunch of money into stupid stuff. That's the key. But your goal is figure out stuff that you're good at, monetize some of that stuff, especially if you like investing. And there's your pool of investment money because it came from stuff that didn't exist. Like you have your job is what you do to pay your bills, and whatever kind of debt responsibility you have, right? But your job is not your life. Your job is a place where you check in and check out. Okay. Then instead of watching Netflix and sports and all this other stupid shit, which again, they've been making fun of people who go back to Juvenile, like bread and circus. People who consume themselves with watching sports and TV and all, that's fine. But you realize you've been the butt of jokes since like before fucking Jesus, right? You realize you're like, you're a demographic that's been made fun of forever, since there was written, since you could write. Why do you think they had the Colosseum? Why do you think they had the gladiator fights? Like, it is to get everybody fixated. So you have to break out of that, and you have to be willing to sacrifice some of that extra time to do things that could spit off the kind of income that might be $500, $600 a day. So you start and say, listen, can I make an extra $20 a day, $30 a day? A lot of you are making $20, $30 a day on staking. You're already on the way. Even if you don't realize it, you're on the way. What happens when many of those assets go up in value over this next bull market? You're going to find that all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, crap. Just from staking rewards, I'm making $200-$300 a day. Holy crap. That's $70,000 to $100,000 a year. I'm making a whole income from staking rewards. So like this will happen too. So that's another line that I crossed. I got to a point where there was one point where my Cardano rewards, just Cardano, which remember, it was only like 7% in the beginning. It's not even that now. It's like 5 and change because there's so many people, but that's still fine. But I was making on my Cardano rewards, well, at one point at the height of the token, like $12,000 a week. Well, because I had to factor like every 5 days is an epic. And then you say, what's a week? That's 2 more, which is 40% of another epic, whatever. But like, I kind of mathed it out, and it was about, gosh, at $3 and like 9 cents, I think is what, God, I was like, holy crap. Like, but I wasn't selling anything. I had already sold my 10X take 20 and I had swapped it into other assets. I never pulled any money out of the crypto space. The first time I was ever going to pull any money out of the crypto space was when I took some cash I was going to dump on a down payment on this house, which for those of you probably been following, I decided not to do that. And last week I took that money that was going to be used as a down payment and I bought Bitcoin at 38,770, I think was my buy-in price. I'd have to check my watch because like the Kraken thing was on my watch. Anyway, that worked out. But the point is you have all these bits of your investments, and if they start to melt up, and Jim, no, I'm not going to talk about the conversation with Tufi because you can go watch it. I'm not going to re-say what Tufi said because that's what Tufi said. Just go listen to Tufi. So essentially, throughout my investment kind of career, I've always looked for ways to monetize the things that I'm already good at. You guys are good at tons of stuff. So you have that right there. And most of you here, be honest, yes or no in the chat. Have you tried to monetize some of your skill sets through an ebook, through consulting, through counseling, things like that? Jim, you're right. I'm kind of being half absurd. Tufi sometimes does need to be, I'm like the English translator for Tufi sometimes, because he's thinking on a level that most of us probably IQ wise just can't really get there. So I agree with you. I'm being goofy. So think about it. All of you here, most of you here probably have a skill or many skills that you could try to monetize. Everybody here. And I don't mean it has to be ebooks, but again, yes, can be consulting, could be ebooks, could be, whatever. Think about it. Go to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm good at this. How could I monetize that? 5 minutes. Some of you have. Yes, some of you have, but not all of you. So I'd say I would urge you to do that. All right. I want to make sure that people are using all the resources they have. I say this because our days of being able to invest as private investors are going away. You guys get that, right? You guys understand there is an expiration date on all of this. We will not be participants, private investor participants in markets for very much longer. Like this whole passive indexation effect should be quite obvious to everyone. Then you add in artificial intelligence and the transition to artificial general intelligence, and it should be blindingly, abundantly slapping you in the face like that really close-up shot in pornography, obvious that it is over. We as human investors, flicking switches, picking at that shit is over with. It is coming to an end. In the same way that all these software engineers thought they had jobs forever, and they're finding themselves unemployed. Because these things, all of these things are being transitioned to software. And anywhere there's a human standing in the middle that can be replaced by software, that middleman is going to be replaced by middleware. And then that middleware will be replaced by even better software or a thinking entity or swarm of entities that obviate the need for that middleware so that there's just an AGI entity or swarm of them in between. So, I mean, this is going away. So you have to plan and say, okay, if all this is going away, how do I have to set myself up for a future that probably looks like universal basic income, a future that probably looks like, AGI agents doing most everything, especially in financial markets, and arbitraging everything in real time? What does it look like? It looks like some kind of amalgam of like the future of Blade Runner and like all of the financial stupidity that was going on in 2021 when everybody was getting their free checks. Some people will be happy. Some people will gamble. No one's ever content. Like no one. I'm not content. I thought I would be content. So we're going to do a cool thing today, by the way. We're going to talk about Dante's Inferno of investors and which ring of hell are you in? You have to figure it out as we go through it. You have to say, I'm in this one. But I think it's important to give this kind of stuff some consideration. We don't have, see, this is, I believe this 100%. I believe it creates a financial caste system instantly. Because once you get in whatever lane you're in, right? Like Cruisen's saying, once you get into that lane, how are you going to escape? You might get anointed if you're some beautiful human and some super rich individual just like plucks you out of the burrows. But like, how are you going to, if AGI is arbitraging every opportunity in real time, then there are no opportunities. Then everything is kind of flat or gently sloped. And it makes you wonder where our ability to participate is. And it's not much. And I think to Marty's point, I think it's going to be to select the right AI engine, but on the other side of it, maybe you'd have your AI selecting the right AI engine. I mean, all this stuff resolves back to the same point. The Apple game. And there's one always turns to the other and shoots them. So like, I do think it's important that people think about this. We don't have forever to get this right. It is very crucial right now that you do everything. Stop watching fucking Netflix. Turn that shit off. Stop watching sports. It is a fucking time waste. If you watch reality TV, blow your brains out. Like, don't actually do that. But like, come on, man. You guys, you need to make your time work for you. And John, I think the timeline is probably 36 months tops. I don't even think it's that. Just think how far we've come since January to now. We're 11 and change months since, the real onboarding experience of Chat GPT. Think how far we've come now. That's a lot, bro. We are far. What do you think we're going to be in a year from now? 2 years. Remember, every single day you look at AI, it's the dumbest it's ever going to be. You're looking at the dumbest AI is ever going to be today. It's not so dumb. Oof, that's kind of scary to think about. Okay, I don't want to get so much into that kind of stuff, Cruising. We'll talk about that in the digital investor group, and we'll talk about that private client. We'll talk about that on tomorrow's video with Brandon. I want to keep this more philosophical, these Tuesday, Thursday chats. So before we go behind the wall, real quick, today is the last day on the node market, the marketplace, NFTs. If you own one by the end of today, by midnight, then that group, that cohort, whoever owns them, the rev share is 100% of whatever the exchange makes. It's going to be divided evenly among the people that own licenses, among the licenses. So that's it. There we go. It's like, who's pocketing the money? You are pocketing the money. There it is. And we do this kind of thing because we get it. We're building this thing. We're rolling out features, and we know it's quiet right now. Oh, it's not so quiet. I mean, but yeah, anyway, there you go. Yay. Okay. Let's shoot behind the wall, and let's talk about Dante's Inferno of investing. You're like, what the shit is he talking about? Oh, you'll see, my friends. Oh, you'll see. For those of you that are not part of digital investor community, it's $99 a month, bro. What is it? What they say in Mean Girls? Why are you so poor? I'm just kidding, but seriously.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.
Just removing some other people. See you later, Twitch. See you later, Twitter. I refuse to refer to it as X. It's so stupid. Only thing that's going to be X is that's all that's going to be left in that bank account. God, man, Elon has depth charged that mother scratcher. Woof. I like Elon. I think he's awesome, and I think he's important, but shit, man. Don't blow up the whole, don't have a dick measuring contest and blow up the whole damn business. Come on, bro. Is the rev share on node market purchase? And yes, midnight tonight. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to say, oh, he might not be here. Yes, Rudy. Midnight. Okay. Increase longevity. I'm expecting to resurrect my boxing career. Yeah, you could. Or, Howard, you could put your brain inside of an AI entity and have that fight. That'd be pretty badass. Anyway, let's get in. You're not late. We've only just begun. Okay, so let's do this. Let's switch gears. I got a cool one. Ooh, how badass is that? So let me tell you what I did. Let me first tell you about my prompt because I'm proud of it. So I went to Brandon and I and his wife went to the Getty. One of the exhibits was the William Blake exhibit, which is awesome. Anyway, so if any of you have read Dante's Inferno, I thought I was talking about that. There was a picture that came up in the Hypercycle, one of the chats, not the public facing chat, but the one for like people that are working for Hypercycle. And one of the pictures was some freak running across, like playing like an electric fiddle or something. I was like, oh my God, this is like the third ring of hell, which is gluttony. And it was all these people sitting in a restaurant and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, it's kind of cool. So the prompt for GPT for Dolly 3 was, I want something that encapsulates the Rings of Hell and Dante's Inferno, but in the style of William Blake. And it nailed it pretty good. I'll tell you, it's so cool. I'm going to go in on it just so you guys can see. Like, it nailed a lot of things because remember, oh, sorry. That's weird. William Blake's style, hold on. William Blake's style was especially one of etching. And he had this whole kind of thing with heaven and hell. Anyway, it's pretty creepy, this stuff. And anyway, so that's what we're going to kind of here. I'll leave it like right there. We'll go one more smaller so you can see some of the fiery. But anyway, pretty cool stuff, right? So anyway, you've seen a picture like this. Yeah, if you've looked at any William Blake stuff, this is like kind of like that. Let's see if I can get it. There. You get the full magnitude and beauty, but it's pretty badass. There's like a serpent. And that's like a wall that's also a monster, a wall monster. Anyway, lots of cool stuff. So anyway, but today's discussion is not quite so dark. Well, maybe it is so dark. But one of the things that I've found lately is people are getting overly emotional. In investing, people have a hard time separating their emotions from their money. And if you can't do that, you're unlikely to really win. You just want to get all of the emotion. And some people are like, well, you're emotional too. It's like, no, if I call someone a dummy, it's not because I don't like them. It's because they're being dumb. I'm dumb on a lot of stuff. Trust me. I got people that put me in check all the time. One of my buddies is an accountant. He's like, quit being stupid. I'm like, what? What am I missing? It's like, okay, shit. All right. So like, we're all negligent on certain things, but you have to get all of the emotion out. What's my favorite Epictetus quote? You guys know it. Everybody here knows it. Matter of fact, I'm going to make you write it. Everybody here, you're going to write this. In order to improve, one must be content to be thought stupid and foolish. In order to improve, one must be content to be thought stupid and foolish. Let's see it. We ain't going nowhere until I see at least 10 of those. Epictetus. These guys, they're so smart back then. They saw it all. In order to improve, one must be content to be thought stupid and foolish. Nice one, Dwayne. This is important because you have to fail fast. If you want to make real money, real money, you have to be willing to be thought stupid and foolish, and you have to fail fast. Don't dither and don't look back on something and try to rationalize or justify. You got to get past all that. Making money, making real money. And I don't talk about this mostly on public shows, but I've made a lot of money, a lot of fucking money. And that didn't bring me the kind of peace that getting out of debt brought me. But I'll tell you what it did bring me. It brought me a lot of fucking money. And that allowed me to buy my time back. I could purchase back my time. I've made good money early in my life, but I didn't keep it because I just didn't understand that was part of it. In my brain, it was like, oh, you make money, you got it. No. In order to improve, one must be content to be thought stupid and foolish. We're all stupid and foolish throughout our pursuit of anything. And yeah, that's right. You fail fast. That's from, it's from every philosophy, but from Eastern philosophy. That's part of, has anybody here read Hagakure? Hagakure. Loosely translates in Japanese to Hidden Under Leaves. It's a book that was written by Tsunetomo Yamamoto, late 1700s. And it was a book that was written as he saw it over a 7-year period, what he thought was the end of the period of the samurai and kind of like giving way to new culture and stuff like that. And Japan was going through a lot of changes. And it's just these kind of little idle thoughts. But one of them is basically that's the idea is you need to fail fast. It had to do with falling. It had to do with these blind monks walking, like traveling from one village to another, and they were all blind, and one of them fell, and the other one like slid and was clinging to the side, and the other one said, just fall, stop it, stop clinging, just fall fast, and then you'll find the bottom. And it seems like kind of silly, but it makes a lot of sense. Fail fast and move on. But a lot of people don't want to fail fast. They fail slowly, and they cling, and they try to justify and rationalize. Stop. Reduce it all to math. This is all about math. The only goal you guys should have right now is to do everything in your power right now to expand your financial event horizon. Do not let anything get in the way of that. Even your own emotions, your own foibles. Just don't. And I would urge people to give this some thought. I mean, I went back and forth with someone today that was not quite willing to give this some thought, but also I understand that people don't absorb information instantly. Sometimes it takes a bit for things to germinate. And I would urge all of you to pay attention to your cognitive biases. If you can just know that they are present, remember last week's homework was do your cognitive bias reading. Know that stuff is there, right? Know that those biases are embedded in you so that you can fail fast and move on. I was driving this morning. I get out real early and I go do cardio, and I was crossing the street. This guy was really far away and honked at me, which is some really passive aggressive bullshit, because they were like, I'm talking a block away. Like 100 cars could have gone by before this guy caught up to me. And I found myself like F-ing. I'm like, F you, dude. But I realized, like, what am I even saying? Like that individual, I don't know, it was a guy, whoever, has got all sorts of stuff going on that he felt that was necessary. I also realized, what if he wasn't even honking at me? What if he was honking at something else? What if he was honking at a squirrel? And I realized I created this whole situation on the assumption that this dude was honking at me, assuming he was like a passive aggressive Sherman Oaks douchebag, which again probably was, but I don't know that. It could have been something complete. He could have been moving his coffee around and his elbow hit I don't know. So I went through and I was like, what am I doing? Delete. I just erased all that shit and drove. Like, what am I doing? And that's in management circles, that's called majoring in the minors. Stop majoring in the minors. Stop letting little things push you off of the path of rational thinking. It's not possible to avoid everything. It is possible to start being aware of it. So the more aware that you are, the better. And I don't think we have unlimited time. I think we have to really think about the art of thinking, which is game theory is the base for thinking. Cognitive bias gets in the way of rational thinking. Mechanism design is how you design systems to get people to think game theoretically. Look at the incentive structure of everything to help you determine what the outcomes are. Front run markets, which means front run stupid people, the fat kid at the fire, front run them by 3 to 6 months, and you get rich. Keeping it is a different animal, but first you got to get there first, right? So I urge everyone to think about thinking. And that's why on these little Tuesday, Thursday things, we stay away from the money and we focus on thinking about thinking. Just that. Just think about the way that you think, the way that you process information, the way that you filter things. And is some of that biased, or are you looking through a lens? And maybe that lens is cognitive bias. Maybe that lens is not accurate. The lens needs to be game theoretical and mechanism design, not cognitive bias. All right. So with that, let's switch gears and let's talk about, let's go with this one. I'm trying to figure out what's some good, like, oh, that's a good backward. Okay. So today we're going to dive into a very unique and very fascinating comparison. We're going to be looking at Dante Alighieri's famous work, The Inferno, part of the larger masterpiece, The Divine Comedy, which some of you may have read, some of you may not, college, or whatever. Anyway, I think you may read The Divine Comedy in high school, or I don't even know if people read anymore. Anyway, it's kind of an epic, it's a poem that takes us through the 9 circles of hell. And apparently the third one is where people with electric violins are. And accordions. That's its own. They should be 10 circles, and one of them is the accordion circle, because that's like whatever. What was that old saying? Like, when you hear a bell, an angel got her wings, and when you hear an accordion, an angel got set on fire. So anyway, we're going to be focusing on the 9 circles of hell, each representing different sins, but we're going to draw parallels with the circles and the types of investors that you might be, or that you're going to find yourself playing against in today's financial world. So we will take part in this intriguing journey and see what can we uncover as game theorists and studiers, students of cognitive bias. So in Dante's Inferno, in the first circle, limbo, it's where souls who led virtuous lives live, but they were not baptized. You say, what the shit? What would that? Well, you could kind of skew the meaning of baptism, right? In our perspective. So they exist in this state of desire without hope. Can you imagine? Desire, they want, but without the hope, without the chance of actually reaching it. So similarly, if you look in the modern investment world, there are these really cautious investors. I used to be this. I would plot out this whole investment strategy, and then I wouldn't pull the trigger. I'm like, it needs to be 100%. There's no such thing. There is no 100%. There's only everything after 50.1%. That's all you get. So in limbo, first circle, these individuals have the knowledge and the resources to invest, but they are paralyzed by fear or indecision. Remember, we talked, I think it was last week, we talked about tyranny of choice. That's the one where I cussed a lot and I had to nuke the video. It was like so much profanity. Anyway, fear and indecision create analysis paralysis. They are paralyzed by fear and indecision. They won't pull the trigger. And so what they do is they watch opportunities pass them by. Everybody you know if you've had any success in crypto, I'm sure everybody here knows someone that's like, oh, I was gonna blah, 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 ... There's a lot of people that were gonna, and I didn't. Oh, I could have ... Yeah, I get it. You could have bought Bitcoin for $1, but you were fucking a schmuck. I get it. I was a schmuck too. I didn't buy it until $692. That's my first purchase of Bitcoin. $692. Anyway, so these people, they watch opportunities pass them by, much like the souls in limbo who yearn for something that they can never have. And it's kind of a reminder. Limbo is a reminder that knowledge alone is not enough. You have to have action. You have to take action. So everybody who's paying attention, I want you to write. You must take action. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just saying in regards to today's discussion, that lets me know you're paying attention. You must take action. Okay. Let's move on to the second ring. Second ring of hell per Dante. Lust, the impulsive investors. Let's not take too much action. Let's take a decisive amount of action. So when we move to the second circle, Dante in the story, in the poem, he encounters souls that are punished for succumbing to lust, swept endlessly by fiery winds, which that's, sounds cool. It's probably hot and not good and bad. So this mirrors impulsive investors in our markets. FOMO, Mimi, bullshit, Doge investors. That's funny. Yes. These individuals chase always the next big thing, the next big thing, the next big thing. There's a whole meme culture now of idiots. It's just gambling. But you know what? Okay. They are driven by emotion. They are driven by the allure of quick profits. And like these fiery, turbulent winds in Dante's poem, market trends and rumors tend to sway people much more than, discussions of fundamental like value and stuff. People just get swayed by the rumors. Most people are noise traders, and it leads them to unstable and mostly unprofitable investment paths. Very, very few people make money on the meme coins. It's all just gambly bullshit. And they'll give it all back because the kind of people that make money on that don't know how to hold their money, and they'll give it all back. You know why? Because by the time I was like 24, I had already made like $5.5 million, and I gave it all back because I was a fucking idiot and I didn't know what I was doing, and I deserved it. And that lesson helped me as I came back the third or the fourth time. I've had so much money and lost it, you can't even imagine. Like, if I count up all the money I've lost, I bet I've lost over $10 million. Like, gone, poof. Like, had it, gone, had it, gone. So it's not a straight path. I'll tell you that. Anyway, that's lust. Let's talk gluttony. Gluttony, these are the overindulgent investors, right? So for the second one, let's remember, the second one is lust. Let's just say the second ring of hell is FOMO. We used to say this, don't be FOMO-sexual. Like, it has weird connotations now, and the world's way too woke for saying stuff like that. Okay. So we're moving on from FOMO. Why you FOMO, bro? We're now moving into gluttony, the overindulgent investors circle. In this third circle, the gluttonous are punished for being forced to lie in the mud, bombarded by rain and hail. Not as bad as fiery winds, I'll admit. If I had a choice, I would say rain and hail over fiery winds. I'll take it. But this kind of gluttonous third circle can be compared to the investors that overindulge in buying assets, and they focus heavily on a single sector or company. These are the people that do zero diversification. The gluttonous can win occasionally because sometimes you get it right. But it often leads to a lack of diversification, much like the gluttons who overindulge in one aspect of life, leading to risky and very unbalanced like personal behavior. This leads you to a risky and very unbalanced investment portfolio that looks a lot more like gambling and a lot less like investing. So it's not awful. Got some rain, got some mud, but gluttony. And this is, we're going to call this, the third circle is gluttony of lack of diversification. Lack of diversification for those of you at home gamers. Okay, let's talk greed. So we're descending now into the fourth. Let's see so we're going, I guess we're from the outside in. So it's kind of like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh gosh, that circles. There's more. Anyway, I don't know where we are here, but this looks like fiery winds though, doesn't it? Oh, the third ring. Maybe it's the rings from the middle out. Maybe it's like 1, 2, 3. Do we see anything that looks like rain? I don't know. Anyway, it's tricky. There's serpents and shit all over the place. Okay, so anyway, for us, let's move on to greed. And this is the materialistic investors. And so the fourth circle is the home of the greedy, who either hoarded or squandered their wealth. I stupided my wealth when I was younger. I didn't hoard it, and I didn't squander it. I didn't get to buy anything. I had it. I didn't protect it, and it was gone. And so I don't know if I'm in the materialistic, or I don't know where I'm at. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, the fourth circle is the home of the greedy. And so for those that have hoarded or squandered wealth in this context, we're going to say that these are the investors that are obsessed with accumulating wealth at any cost. But there may not be any end game, right? And so they might engage in short-term, very high-risk investments. They might prioritize material gain over sustainability or ethics or like human relationships, stuff like that. And their actions can lead to very significant market fluctuations reminiscent of the chaotic kind of jostling of souls that Dante describes. So I don't know where I am on this one. I'm not against people that hoard. If you want to hoard, if it's your stuff and you made it, that's your prerogative. Good for you. But I think we'll call this ring the fourth circle, the fourth ring of hell is greed, and it's hoarding or squandering. I do see people squander a lot. I mean, God, look at almost every musician that comes into money, or every lottery winner. They just squander everything. It's gone. So let us not squander. Okay. Let us descend into the fifth, anger, the aggressive investors. Y'all see the people that rage quit. This is like the other side of it. In this fifth circle, Dante encounters the wrathful, who are constantly fighting each other. This reflects very aggressive investors, XRP community, who make hasty and emotion-driven decisions. Okay, that opens it back up to most of the crypto community. Their investment style is marked by rapid reactions to market changes, and this results in unnecessarily large risks, followed by unnecessarily large losses. I guess if you take an unnecessarily large risk, it is a necessary loss, right? So this is similar to the endless and fruitless battles of the wrathful in Inferno, right? So we will call this the fifth circle is anger, the rage investor. Also, these people that are quite vitriolic in these chats and stuff like that. I thought it was funny when I got nuked for some money because dude stole money from me, and people were blaming me because the price of Hypercycle went down. What are you talking about, you dummy? Oh, it was the funniest thing. Anyway, you're just like, where is your head at? Your 17 Hypercycle bag went down, and you're mad because you're mad that someone stole 1 million Hypercycle tokens from me, but your bag went down on paper that you weren't going to sell. Like, unpack that, dummy. Anyway, okay, the sixth circle, and this is heresy. I know, John, right? I did it. Heresy. This is the contrarian investors. The sixth circle punishes heretics, and these are the ones that held beliefs that were contrary to the accepted doctrine. I would say many of us are in this somewhat. We were in this space, right? But in modern investing, these are contrarian investors, and so what they do is they challenge mainstream market trends and opinions. And while this approach can lead to significant insights and gains, it's risky if it's not grounded in thorough analysis. And this is why you have to have some system of analysis. So, just as the heretics in Dante's world were often isolated due to their unorthodox views, although, if isolation's all they give us in the sixth circle, okay. You're going to be isolated anyway. And I mean, another thing, keep this in the back of your mind. As you succeed in finance, as you succeed in investment pursuits, you're going to find your circle of friends or the circle of people that you can communicate getting much smaller. That is just the reality. So probably want to pack that in the back of your mind as well. So anyway, the sixth circle is the contrarians. So someone throw that down there. So we've done our work. All right, violence. Let's go into the seventh circle. This is reserved for the violent. Here we see a parallel with ruthless investors. All right. And these individuals employ very aggressive tactics like hostile takeovers, exploiting market vulnerabilities, often cheating. They have very little regard for ethical concerns and basically for humans. And the list is pretty big, but you could go Okay, well, Three Arrows Capital, Raoul Pal, probably to a degree, Mark Novogratz, Mike Novogratz. I mean, to a degree, he's not completely unethical. But he's pretty close. I mean, Alex Mashinsky, Celsius, the douchebags over BlockFi, I mean, all the Kyle and Zushu at Three Arrows, Scam, Bank Run, Fraud Chicken, and all those assholes that were over at FTX, basically having a sex pot Bahamas orgy with everybody else's money. Do Kwon and all those pieces of shit that worked for Terra Luna. They're now in various stages of indictment. Tron, Justin Sun, that asshole over at Tron, who's a piece of shit. To an extent, CZ. I mean, it's kind of, they're pretty much obvious. They're right out there. They are, these are the kind of ruthless, right? They have very little thought to ethics. And so this approach yields short-term gains, but at the expense of long-term stability and integrity. And most of them are heading to prison if they're not already there. Right? And there's a lot that get away with it on a smaller scale, but it is what it is. Okay, fraud. In the 8th circle, this is fraud is the deceptive investors. Okay, in the 8th circle, Dante encounters the fraudulent. And this circle resonates with investors who engage in deceptive practices like not so much in crypto insider trading. There's probably a little bit of that, but it's a little bit more obvious when people are doing sketch in crypto than it is in stock in other asset markets. But market manipulation, running Ponzi schemes, you see that a lot. Their actions are not only for personal gain, but it contributes to market instability and like a general loss of trust. Much like the chaos and deception that Dante illustrates inside this circle. So fraud, the deceptive pieces of shit, that is the 8th circle. The ninth circle, our final circle of hell, the 9th and the lowest circle of hell is reserved for traders, the betraying investors. And this can be thought of like the investors who betray their partners, their stakeholders, or even their own ethical principles for personal gain. And such actions have, severe consequences, including legal repercussions like, jail and damaged reputations. And these guys, this is a guy, it's not all guys. I mean, I guess there could be some women in there, like the girl who had that big scam where like you take a blood test and it tells you 56 things and it was all made up bullshit. Anyway, these are the betraying investors, and it parallels the frozen, isolated state of traders in Dante's in the poem, in his depiction. So to kind of conclude that one, the 9th is for the betrayers, I don't know, you can't just say crooks because a lot of these check off the crook box, but definitely the 8th and the 9th. The 8th is the fraudulent, the 9th is the betrayers. So traitors, we'll call it traitors. All right. Not traders, traitors. For anybody that's paying attention, the last season of Slow Horses just released. It's one of the very few things I'll allow myself to watch because spy stuff is cool. And I knew a spy. That's a whole other story. I knew like a legit spy, a retired a spy in Vietnam, if you can imagine. Talk about a badass. Anyway, okay. So to conclude, as we're looking at this kind of parallels between Dante's Inferno, it's kind of a cool lens to look through to kind of examine the behaviors and the ethics of the different types of investors. And do you fit in even to a bit to any of these groups? Hopefully it's not the last two. But I could see some of us being sixths, the contrarian investors. I think most of us are in the sixth ring of hell. But just remember, we're still in hell. Either way, it's important to remember that there is a balance between behavior and ethics, and risk and reward, and the significance of making informed thoughtful investments based on your situation. I mean, Dante's journey through hell serves as a powerful metaphor for the pitfalls and all the moral decisions in the investment world, just in life in general. But you probably, if you do go read Dante's Inferno at this point, you probably read it a lot differently now that it's been attached to some kind of investment, some investor analysis. Anyway, it's kind of fun and thought-provoking, and that's the whole point today. And these Tuesday, Thursday sessions are just to think about the way that you think and to maybe rewire some of your instant reactions to things. Try to be less emotional, try to be less reactionary and more actionary. Make sense? And also have like a good day and relax. And it's not that big of a deal, right? In the time that you guys have known me, I've made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and all that. It is what it is. It's part of the journey, right? And every time I've lost, it's been a great lesson, a good one. That I learned $1 million lesson. And without learning that $1 million lesson, I couldn't go on to do other things. Now, there's just us, just this little group. I do want you guys to go and think about, it's not for us. It isn't just about get out of debt. It isn't just what would make me happy. I'm hoping that people here have their eyes on bigger goals with an understanding that our timeline is very limited. I think you guys have 36 months to figure out where you want to be in the caste system. And I think that's it. So just make sure that you're thinking about the reality that the time that we have to get it right is very, very limited. All right. And if we don't say it enough, thank you guys for being digital investors. We like it. It's cool. It lets me and Brandon build cool shit. All right. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor, insolvent, drunk, strung out on meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. This Christmas thing is so stupid. I like it, but man, it's stupid. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.